Hey, let's turn our attention to abortion. And, while we talk about mainstream ideas and understandings that Christians have held and that churches across the board broadly hold to, it's a pro-life position. There's a Senate inquiry into abortion and calls to make abortion more widely available nationwide for taxpayers to bear the costs. What's developing here, Martyn?
Well, there is an inquiry, as you say, but there's also an opportunity. So the federal government is really interested to make abortion more widely accessible and more freely accessible, though it is already very widely and very freely accessible across the nation. So I'm not entirely sure what more they think they can do, but they evidently think that they can do more. So they are putting on this inquiry, which is really tragic. However, it is also an opportunity. We think that this is a moment when those in the Christian community and those who are pro-life can make a submission to that inquiry and demonstrate an outpouring of concern about the availability of abortion, not the lack of availability, and to put in pro-life submissions to that inquiry and to really overwhelm it with pro-life sentiment. I think that would be a really great outcome, and I think is an important thing for us to do as part of our Christian witness in this inquiry. So what's happening is that we are hosting a Zoom webinar tonight to provide training to people on how they can write a submission to that inquiry. And it isn't a whole lot of work. It could be a very short submission, just a comment about your experience or what you believe, and you can send that in. Over 2,500 people have registered to attend that webinar already, which is quite incredible. So we're always happy for more to come. You can see there's going to be a lot of pro-life submissions go into this thing. And so you can go to the ACL website, acl.org.au, and if you just scroll down a bit on the homepage, you'll see a big banner saying, register for Zoom webinar on abortion inquiry. You click that, you register, and you can go along to that tonight. You'll be addressed by Associate Professor Joanne Howe from the University of Adelaide, and also Wendy Francis, our National Director of Politics. It'd be a great thing to do, and just a very, very simple way to make sure that pro-abortion inquiry becomes a pro-life inquiry.
Interesting, isn't it, when you stop, pause and reflect for a few moments. An inquiry is important, and what has developed is taxpayer funding for abortions around the nation. And Martyn, if taxpayers are paying for abortion procedures, that means that we are all contributing to the financing of abortion. So something there that makes it a little more important for us all to rise to the occasion here and perhaps be prepared to speak up and make one of those submissions.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it is true that there are Medicare item numbers which are used to fund abortions right across the country, including late-term abortions right up to, just prior to the moment of birth. So it is correct that our taxpayer money, which funds the Medicare system, is also funding abortions. And that's a great tragedy, and therefore I think there is a heightened urgency for people to speak up because their money is being implicated in this practice. And so it's time that we took a stand. And I just think it's an excellent opportunity for us to show the government that when they put on an inquiry about expanding access to abortion, they can expect to be overwhelmed with pro-life sentiment from the community. It'd just be a marvellous thing if we can pull that off. And I think we can with people's help.
So how do you write one of those submissions? Insights tonight on a national Zoom webinar, and you can access details of how you can participate in that national Zoom webinar tonight at acl.org.au. That's the website for the Australian Christian Lobby, acl.org.au. Martyn Iles is Managing Director of the Australian Christian Lobby. Martyn, thanks so much for an insightful update today on 2020.
Thank you, Neil. It's always a pleasure.